Hey everyone, it's Brian from Mount Up. Today I'll be talking about the SureFire 2211 signature wrist light, which features variable output, rechargeable LED, and a maximum of 300 lumens. This is going to be a fairly short and sweet video, just kind of going over some specs and features, and then just talking some pros and cons. We're going to talk a little about practicality. Do you really need a watch light? In reality, it's about creating an advantage for yourself and for your team. If you're on patrol, and you've been in situations where you might have needed additional light and a free hand, then sure, this could absolutely make your life easier. If you've been in situations where you didn't have a weapon light or had an equipment malfunction, then absolutely this would be a great backup. Tactical situations aside, this could also be a great light to use if you're working on your car or just trying to, get in that engine bay where there's certain places where a top light may not reach, or if you're out hiking or it's running into the evening, you didn't really plan properly. This could certainly be a backup light. Having a light but still free movement of your hands can be pivotal. As with any tool, it's really important to just make sure you train on how you're going to use this thing. If you expect to carry this thing out with you on patrol or any type of operation, then you need to train with it. But before I get too deep in the details, let's just get started with what's in the box. You got your pamphlet, your user's manual, obviously the watch itself. Underneath, you got a USB charger. These run typically about 200 bucks. Although you can kind of shop around the internet, you can pick one up for about 180, just depending on where you look. But don't be confused, this is not the SureFire 2211 Luminox version. That's the one that's about $650. It does share the same lumens as the Signature series, but that one has Swiss quartz movement, additional self-illumination on the dial, along with the unmistakable Luminox logo to let everybody know how much more money you have than them. So aesthetically, the watch looks good. I'll have to admit that the nylon strap doesn't feel as robust as the rest of the watch. I assume this is for some type of weight saving, so you wouldn't be lugging around this giant 2-pound weight on your wrist while you're on duty or shooting or hiking or whatever. To be honest, when I first felt the 2211, I thought it was going to be way heavier than like a G-Shock or other comparable tactical watch. So I decided to weigh them, and I also grabbed one of my G-Shock, one of my Solars, and threw that on a scale as well. So this SureFire 2211 came in at 3.8 ounces, while my G-Shock came in at 3.2 ounces. So as you can see, not a huge difference in weight, and it doesn't feel extremely heavy on the wrist. It is a little more bulky, and some folks have problems fitting it under their sleeve. But again, not a giant difference in weight from your traditional tactical watches. The body on this one is a high impact polymer. So if you're familiar with SureFire products, they're made to withstand way more than what the average person is going to put them through. There's tons of military and law enforcement testing with these, but for the average Joe, it's definitely over designed. There's 2 activation switches on the top and bottom. Pressing only one of them will start the watch on the 300 lumen setting out the box. If you press it quickly, again within about a half a second, it'll take the light down to a medium setting, which is 60 lumens. If you press it 3 times quickly, from the off position, it'll take it down to the lowest setting, which is your 15 lumen setting. The light came with that activation sequence starting at the brightest. You can reverse that if you want to. What you'll have to do is plug it into the charging port with it off, turn it down to the lowest setting, leave it there for 5 seconds, turn it off, and then unplug it. That'll reset, so that way when you hit the button when you're wearing the watch, it'll start at the lowest lumens. Okay, so all the technical stuff to the side, the bottom line is, should you buy one? Well, that's really up to your uses, practicality, and budget. If you got an extra 180 bucks laying around and you want a cool wrist light, sure, have at it. It may not be a bad investment for you. Or if you got a bunch of tactical friends and you're constantly comparing your newest gear, then, absolutely. But, seriously though, for the things that I like about this 2211, it could definitely be an asset to somebody who needs an additional lighting option based on their profession or their hobby. It comes from one of the more reputable brands. Obviously, you can't argue that with SureFire products. I do like that the buttons are easy to get to on the top and bottom of the watch. It's not super heavy. This could be the backup for somebody who doesn't have a weapon with a rail or doesn't want to keep switching out lights for different applications, if you will. The runtime is about an hour, which should last more than a few shifts if you're using it on duty. And you also have that fuel gauge, quote unquote, to let you know if your battery's getting low and if you need to recharge before it actually dies on you. I do also really like the Max Vision beam. It's really bright, and it kind of spreads that light out to a decent distance where you could be used in a potential self-defense situation if needed, or to just keep eyes on a target, a bad guy, etc. I really do like that the watch has bold numbers. They're really easy to read. And the hour and minute hands also have illumination on them. Now for the downside. This watch is definitely made for right-handed people to wear on their left wrist. So I'll say that again. This was designed to be worn on your left wrist for a right-hand strong shooter. If you wore this on your right wrist, you'd be shining light on yourself, which probably defeats the purpose of you wearing it. Or you could wear the watch upside down, which is also kind of weird. So there's that. I don't like the fact that only the hands are illuminated on this dial. I don't like that the watch battery is separate from the watch light. So if you need to replace the watch battery, you'll have to unscrew a couple Allen keys, pop that off, get a new battery, put it back in, and then screw all the parts back on. It's not really hard, as you can see in the photo. It comes apart pretty easy, but it's just one of those extra things that you have to do to maintain equipment. Also, the entire watch does not appear to be waterproof or resistant. The back of the actual watch portion shows 100 meters water resistant, but unless you have that off on a lanyard or something like that, I would refrain from putting your 2211 Signature Series underwater. Finally, in a tactical scenario, you'd essentially have to use your strong hand to turn the light on, then unholster a weapon to engage a threat. And I'm sure with practice, you could certainly minimize the time that this takes, but milliseconds count in these situations where a weapon-mounted light could be turned on as you're unholstering and pushing out toward your target, but that's just my 2 cents. Overall, I think SureFire's 2211 is well designed, rugged, and has lots of applications. I could see someone using this on patrol when a light is needed along with a free hand, or in scenarios where this is an alternate or a backup light source. Like I said earlier, the nylon strap doesn't feel as rugged as the watch itself, but you can purchase other rubber and nylon options through SureFire or aftermarket manufacturers. At the $180 price point, you could purchase a weapon light from another company and a Timex, or you can just use one of these as your daily watch. Either way, I hope this helps, and we certainly appreciate you stopping by to check out this video. If you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to us at info@mountupfirearms.com. And if you like this type of content and want some more, go ahead and like the video. It literally costs nothing. It takes about a second of your time, and it really helps us out greatly. If you'd like to check out other firearm related products or weapons, you can check our website at www.mountupfirearms.com for all your firearm needs. If you have any gear specific questions or requests such as this 2011 watch, uniforms, boots, knives, etc., shoot us an email at info@mountupfirearms.com. And again, we really appreciate you checking us out. Mount up.